Disney completely lied to you about the true story of Snow White because the evil queen didn't just want to get rid of her, she actually ordered the huntsman to bring back her heart and cooked and ate it. But Snow White was still alive, hiding in the dark woods with 7 dwarfs, surviving deadly poison lace, a toxic comb, and the ultimate poison apple trick. Watch till the exact end to see the brutal, terrifying revenge that Disney completely hid from you. A kind queen sewed by her castle window. She pricked her finger on the white snow. She wished for a beautiful, sweet baby girl. A lovely daughter was born to the queen. The royal baby was named Sweet Snow White. She had white skin and very black hair. Sadly, the good queen died soon after birth. The king and castle were filled with sadness. The king married a proud, cruel new queen. The new queen had a magical talking mirror. She asked the mirror who was the fairest. The mirror always said she was the prettiest. Snow White grew into a lovely young girl. The queen asked her mirror the same question. The mirror said Snow White was now fairer. The wicked queen became furious and very jealous. The angry queen planned a very dark plot. She ordered a huntsman to take Snow White. She told him to kill her in the woods. She demanded the girl's heart as proof. The huntsman led Snow White into the woods. He raised his sharp knife to kill her. Snow White cried and begged for her life. The huntsman felt sorry and let her go. The huntsman told Snow White to run away. He killed a wild boar in the forest. He took its heart to the evil queen. The wicked queen ate it, thinking she won. Snow White was alone in the dark woods. Scary trees loomed over her scary path. She ran for hours, terrified and crying out. The sun began to set over the forest. She found a strange little clearing at dusk. A tiny, beautiful house stood right there safely. Snow White slowly walked to the front door. She gently pushed it open and looked inside. Inside, she found 7 tiny little food plates. There were 7 tiny cups on the table. She ate a little food from each plate. She drank a little water from each cup. She saw 7 small beds lined up neatly. She tried them until one felt just right. Exhausted from running, she fell fast asleep. The house was completely quiet and very peaceful. 7 dwarfs returned home from mining gold tonight. They held lanterns and walked inside their house. They noticed someone had touched their tiny plates. They realized a stranger was inside their home. The dwarfs walked up to their tiny beds. They found a beautiful girl sleeping soundly there. They were shocked by her amazing visual beauty. They decided not to wake her up tonight. Snow White woke up and saw the dwarfs. She was frightened at first by their faces. The friendly dwarfs smiled and asked her name. She told them her name was Snow White. She told them about her wicked stepmother's plot. She explained how the kind huntsman spared her. The dwarfs listened carefully with worried, sad faces. They felt very sorry for the young princess. The dwarfs offered her a safe place live. They asked her to cook and clean house. Snow White happily agreed to stay with them. She thanked them for their incredible kindness today. The next morning, the dwarfs left for work. They warned her to be very careful today. They told her not to open the door. They feared the evil queen would find her. The evil queen stood before her magic mirror. She asked who was the fairest of all. The mirror said Snow White was still alive. It said she lived with the 7 dwarfs. The queen shook with pure, evil anger now. She realized the huntsman had tricked her completely. She vowed to destroy Snow White herself today. She began creating a clever, wicked new disguise. She dressed up as an old peddler woman. She filled a basket with colorful silk ribbons. She walked over the mountains to the cottage. She laughed wickedly along the mountain path. Queen knocks on cottage window. Snow White looks outside curiously. Old woman shows shiny ribbons. Snow White thinks she is safe. Snow White opens the door. Queen ties a tight ribbon. Snow White gasps for air. She collapses onto the floor. Wicked Queen laughs out loud. She runs back to castle. Snow White lies completely still. Dark shadows cover the room. They find her on floor. They cut the tight ribbon. Snow White opens her eyes. Dwarfs warn her about Queen. They beg her locked door. Snow White promises them safety. Dwarfs stay by her side. Queen asks her magic mirror. Mirror says Snow White lives. Queen screams with wild rage. She plans a deadlier trick. Queen makes a magical comb. It carries a deadly spell. She changes her disguise again. She walks back to cottage. Queen knocks on cottage window. She offers beautiful hair combs. Snow White stops at window. She admires the sparkling comb. Snow White opens the door. Woman puts comb in hair. Poison works instantly on her. Princess falls down breathless again. Dwarfs find her lifeless body. They spot the shiny comb. They pull it out quickly. Snow White revives and smiles. Dwarfs are terrified and angry. They lock the wooden door. They make her promise again. Snow White nods tearfully. Queen asks Mirror once more. Mirror says Snow White wins. Queen twists with fierce fury. She enters secret dark room. The evil queen made a poisoned red apple. She dressed up as a poor country farmer. She traveled to the dwarf's cottage once more. She knocked loudly on the locked wooden door. The farmer tricked Snow White to share it. The queen ate the safe white half safely. Snow White took one bite of red side. She collapsed instantly to the floor, breathless tonight. The wicked queen laughed with evil loud joy. She ran away into the dark, stormy night. Her magic mirror said she was finally fairest. She believed her rival was gone forever now. The dwarfs found her lifeless body and wept. They built a beautiful clear glass coffin box. They placed Snow White gently inside the glass. They watched her on the high mountain sadly. A handsome young prince rode through the woods. He saw the beautiful girl inside the glass. He begged the sad dwarfs for the coffin. The dwarf saw his true love and agreed. Royal servants carried the heavy crystal coffin away. A servant suddenly stumbled over a tree root. The poisoned apple piece popped out of throat. Beautiful Snow White opened her eyes and awoke. The prince held her hands on the mountain. He asked Snow White to marry him today. She happily smiled and said yes to him. A grand royal wedding feast was planned quickly. The proud evil queen received a golden invitation. Her mirror warned that the new bride was fairer. The queen's heart filled with sudden deep dread. The queen entered the bright, grand wedding hall. She froze in horror seeing Snow White alive. Guards forced her to wear red-hot shoes. She danced until she fell completely finished down. Snow White and the prince became kind rulers. Everyone lived happily ever after in total joy.